This is the New York City FC Pregame Live. Tonight, New York City head north of the border to take on CF Montreal. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
Yeah. Where you been, Matty Lawrence? It's been too long. You can't separate from me for over 2 weeks, man. It's
been 16 days of sheer bliss without you. I mean, yeah, utter devastation without you. Yeah.
Hey, well, nice
it's been a
see
long time.
It has been. That's Matty Lawrence. I'm Glenn Crooks. We will be providing the live commentary for the New York City Football Club as they play in Montreal against CF Montreal. So our airtime for our commentary 7:15 with the pregame show, where we will feature a new coach just for a game, we suspect. But Mehdi Belushi, first team assistant, will coach his first professional game as a head coach. As Pascal Janssen, he is dealing with personal matters in Europe. We don't know anything beyond those words that were expressed by the New York City Football Club right before the presser on Thursday when we saw that Mehdi Belushi took charge of that. So we are anxiously awaiting to see and know that Mehdi rather is getting a pretty nice opportunity here. I just wanted to review who Mehdi is. Born in Casablanca. He moved to the States as a teenager, went to Creighton, and then transferred and became the West Coast Conference Player of the Year at Santa Clara. 219 appearances in Major League Soccer, including 51 games with the Red Bulls. And after playing a couple of years with New York City in their first 2 years, expansion season in 16, he started coaching on the youth level at World Class, which is right across the street from New York City FC. And then he came back across the street to coach the U15s in the academy, and that ended up him being promoted to first team assistant in 2020.
Yeah, look, he's an experienced guy within the US and within the MLS system, and of course, more importantly, ingratiated into NYCFC and everything that sails within it, so to speak. I think we hope, obviously, we know he'll do a great job. We hope he gets a win, but I think overall, you hope that he only has this one game because that will mean that things are better for Pascal Janssen back home, wherever he may be, and whatever may the problem be. We know that if he's back and coaching on Thursday,
right,
whatever has transpired will have resolved for better or for worse, whatever it may be, Glenn. But yeah, we wish whatever's going on, we wish Pascal well. And of course, maybe more importantly for NYCFC and the football club, we wish Mehdi Belushi all the very best today here at Montreal.
Well, here's Mehdi walking to the plane with Seymour Reed. This was yesterday, so now we knew that Seymour Reed was going to be in the squad, which he is. He's on the bench today as we're rolling the starting 11 and bench. No changes from the 4-0 win over Atlanta United. And then Mehdi took the presser on Thursday. And, he had to obviously at least address, not necessarily specifically what was happening with Pascal, but what it is about taking charge at this point. Here he was.
So Pascal is in charge of the whole week. We were in touch every day. He's able to watch the sessions. We're in video calls with the whole coaching staff. So the preparation is no different than what we've been doing. And there's nothing that is me making anything that is different than what I've been doing. So I'm doing the same exact job I've been doing since Pascal was here, and that will continue when Pascal is back. No, Pascal will be involved. We'll be in touch with the whole coaching staff again, and we'll go through the game, preparing the way we've been preparing before. And with today's technology, Pascal can be, as involved as he wants to be and can be remotely.
Yeah, I'm gonna take down Mehdi here in a second so you can see us. There we go. So a couple of things there. Number one, it would seem that Pascal has not been here all week for training, so Mehdi Belushi has taken charge of that along with Robert Tugian, Leon Hapgood, and so that's occurred. And it made me think of Dome Torrent when he got signed to replace Patrick Vieira. It took 2 weeks to get the paperwork proper, and he was watching things digitally, live to watch training, going over the sessions with the assistant coaches, and that's the best you can do. And then the other part of this is that I don't quite agree. And this is you want to put on a strong face here and just say, look, nothing's going to change. We're going to be fine. But I know for a fact that if you're missing one coach, especially if it's the head coach, everybody's got a role during the week in training, but especially on game day. You have a specific role, and now that kind of flips around a little bit.
Yeah, look, I had many managers during my career, Glenn, and some were incredibly hands-on, and some of the best were very hands-off. Neil Warnock was hardly at the training ground all week long. He came alive on a Friday, the day before training, right. And then on a Saturday when he gave his team talk. And I think what you're alluding to there is it's normally the manager who gives the team talk. The last voice you hear before you go out of the dressing room is the manager's. He normally will give a sort of a 5-10 minute speech. It won't be about tactics really, because you've already done that during the week.
Right.
But it'll be a motivational speak, and that can't be done remotely. Certainly, in my opinion, you could certainly put him on an iPad and have him giving the team talk, but it wouldn't have the same resonance, would it? If it's coming through a 5x6 inch screen. So I think he can be there in spirit, but I absolutely agree with you, whether it's during the week, but more specifically for me, to miss the head coach on a match day, that's a big miss. And as much as you want to paper over it and say everything's the same as normal, it's clearly not, because he's not here. And Mehdi, yes, he's saying, everything is still being done by Pascal. Mehdi's still going to be the one, in my opinion, or Vertonghen, who gives that speech, Glenn, just before they go out. So it is a little bit different, that's for certain. But also we know what professional Pascal Janssen is. Something has obviously happened. I'm not speculating in the slightest, but something's happened that means he's had to leave his job, his well-loved job and well-loved sport, for sort of 6-7 days. So it's something serious, of course, and it will have an effect on the players. Hopefully it won't have an effect on the result, but him not being here, it's only natural, it's only human emotion that, of course, it's going to have a slightly negligible effect on the team.
Like when you're a player too, sometimes you get an opportunity because of injury, or maybe somebody is away dealing with a personal matter, and you get your opportunity. So here's Mehdi Beloushi coaching his first pro game, and someone asked him how he kind of felt about that.
It's a good question. To be honest, I haven't put a lot of thought into that. I think maybe post-game I can reflect and see what I get out of it as a coach, as a human being. But I've kind of been on task, and it's about doing the task in hand, and from one thing to the other, and making sure that the preparation is right, making sure that the staff is right, making sure that the group is right. So I haven't had time to reflect on that, but I think that's something that maybe post game I could look back and see what I got out of it.
All right, good answer.
Yeah, great answer. Yeah, and absolutely. Of course, first and foremost, he just wants him to win. Mehdi wants to win the game, and I think that is a not only a good answer, but it's the truth as well. Is you don't reflect on these things until post, because he'll have been caught up in it. We don't know how much notice he'll have got that all of a sudden he's the head coach. Pascal had to shoot off. We don't know whether that was a last minute thing or not. So he's probably not really had any time to reflect on being the quote unquote head coach during this week. And as I say, we all hope that Pascal's back as soon as possible and will be in charge against Toronto. But certainly on the flight home, when he gets back to his apartment or his house tonight or tomorrow during a warm down session, I think that is when Mehdi will reflect on what he did as a coach during the game. Because let's be honest, yes, modern technology is wonderful, but Mehdi Beloushi is the man right down there. He's going to be the one relaying information to the players. Granted, some of it may come from Pascal. We don't know how true it is, whether he really is on the telephone or not during the whole 90 minutes.
During the game is what we really we're curious about.
Absolutely.
Roberto Abramowitz and I did NYCFC Views Live last night, and we spent some time on this because I'm curious. I hope they will talk about it when he comes back, because I'd like to know how it went during the game.
Yes. Yeah. Well, look, you're going to know.
And is he watching, honestly, Apple, which is 90 seconds delayed in Europe, or are they feeding him a live digital, overhead tactical look? I mean, which I'm sure you could do, right?
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
think, that's probably what it's got.
Everything's technologically possible, but yes, we're merely speculating because we don't know what's going on back home.
Right, that's true.
If he has to be in a hospital somewhere because whatever's going on, then he has to be there. But what we do know is that the coaching staff have all worked together for long enough now, even though Pascal's only been here this season. They know exactly what what he wants. They will have been through a breakdown of the game and the tactics. So yes, Mehdi will be himself, but he will be relaying the tactics and the formulation, and the formula or the tactics board. It's coming directly from Pascal, let's be honest.
And I shared this once with Mehdi because I know his instructor for his pro license. So he achieved that this past year, the U.S. Soccer Pro license. Didier Chambaron is the guy who administers that. And he said to me quite clearly that it's his belief, and he's dealt with a lot of coaches, that Mehdi's ready to be a head coach in MLS anyway.
Yeah.
So again, you're not going to change things, but you still have to you're the guy today.
Well, you also want to be your own person, don't you? Because there are going to be some things that he may not agree with, because there's no way in life or in sport that Mehdi can think exactly the same as the head coach, Pascal Janssen. We all have different opinions on the game. Granted, he's not suddenly going to make the team play 3-2-4 or 3 whatever.
Well, look, I mean, he's got the same lineup.
Absolutely, that's what I mean.
That's obviously Pascal's call.
Bit tongue in cheek, but during the game, certainly little nuances he can make, certainly little changes he can make if he sees something in game that are his own. But always, yes, he's not going to shoot himself in the foot and suddenly do anything rash decisions. So Pascal suddenly starts thinking, "Oh God, this guy wants to be the head coach."
So it's been a 16-day break, Matty, and sometimes that's good. It's the timing is good. Sometimes it's maybe not beneficial. But there were a number of teams that played midweek, and this was after a mandatory 5 days off for the players. That's written into the collective bargaining agreement. So following that Atlanta match and all the matches that were played on June 12th, the players were gone for 5 days, except for the international players. They had to go with their teams, and that's Gold Cup qualifying, Club World Cup, all those different things. So the midweek games, the Wednesday teams the coaches only had 4 days to prepare. So Sandro Schwartz, the Red Bulls coach, was the most vocal about this. Here's his quote: "The Red Bulls tied Toronto 1-1, and he lost 3 players to injury." So he's essentially, in these quotes, blaming MLS scheduling.
Yeah, I read it. He is blaming. Essentially, he is blaming.
I mean, we are not allowed to control the guys during the break. Now, what exactly he means by that, Matty, I don't know what you did during your 5-day breaks, but
during the season, you obviously stay healthy, but it doesn't mean that you can't fly down to Florida and go and have a few days the beach with your family. But to just have a few days back, and it just, in my opinion,
what do you think?
Carry on.
Because I'm going to play a clip from Mehdi Belushi, because he was asked that too, and he's got an interesting response.
It's fine for Mehdi and for Pascal because they still got
they've got the regular
days. But when you only get you can't have 5 days off after one game. 5 days completely off. You're not even allowed in the facility. Nothing. No, that's absolutely ludicrous.
And then 4 days to prepare for a game.
4 days to prepare.
So what else did he say? He said, normally you need 10 days or 2 weeks for the next game after a break like this. I don't know if you need that extensive a break, but I will defer to the guy who's been doing it.
Absolutely. I think 7 to 10 days is fine after a 5-day break, because even when we had an off season of say 8 or 9 weeks, we would normally finish May the 10th, say, and go back to pre-season July the 1st. They say you maintain your fitness pretty much for the first 2 weeks of a break. I was always told that by the fitness coaches. You can take 2 weeks off of doing nothing, but then after that 2 weeks, your fitness level drops off much more rapidly. During the 2 weeks, it's like a steady decline, and not even that much of a decline. So I'd always take 2 weeks off completely because my body needed it. But then get back running straight away. Even though it wasn't pre-season, I would then be back running, doing my own.
But you can't come back in and start preparing for a game in a couple of days.
No, absolutely not.
With a high intensity drills.
Yeah, I think 7 to 10 days is fine.
All right.
But 3 days or 4 days to
here's
prepare
what
5 days off. Yeah, I'd love to hear what Mehdi says.
Here's what Mehdi said about the break.
I think the break, to be honest with you, is really important for the players. I think it's a good idea to implement a 5-day break for them, because I think the reality of the league and the travel is very hectic, and that's probably around the 6 month line where the break was. And what you see, interesting, what you see afterwards is a lot of energetic people. So the guys have been back, refreshed, training really well, and getting prepared for the game.
The refreshed energy, but also several more days to build up to the game. Montreal played midweek at home. They lost to Cincinnati 3-1. They're still at home against New York City FC. Again, airtime coming up at 7:15 for our live commentary Eastern time.
Yeah.
But,
I would rather be in Montreal's shoes having played that game rather than having had the whole 16 days off playing your xylophone or playing the drums for 5 days, whatever it may be.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's...
But
I want to meet the player that plays the xylophone during their break.
There's bound to be one. But yeah, Mehdi's point wasn't Sandro Schwartz's. Schwartz was talking about the much lesser of the breaks. I agree with Mehdi that if you're going to have 16 days off, the players can take 5 days off to go and lay on the beach. And I mean actually lay on the beach. I'm not talking metaphorically. There's nothing wrong with taking your kids away and your wife, your partner, whatever it may be, because you've then still got 10 days to prepare for the next game.
So, with all this discussion about the international break and MLS scheduling and stuff, it brought to mind Dome Taron, because Dome, he was always disturbed by different things in regard to the MLS scheduling. So I pulled out this old clip. You'll enjoy this, Matty. Hopefully those watching and listening will as well.
We have FIFA days, but MLS prefer to play the competition. It's strange, this league for me. We play 3 in a row in 7 days. After that, we stop the league 2 weeks. After that, we have again 3 in a row in 7 days. And after that, we stop 3 weeks. If you think about that, is the balanced league? Okay, I accept, but I don't understand anything right now.
And so it went with Dome Datual during his tenure here with the New York City Football Club, 2019, when they won the Eastern Conference regular season championship. The only time they've done that. So that's in our last couple of minutes here, Matty. Today's game, you've got New York City playing Montreal. Montreal's never had a regular season series sweep over New York City. May the 10th. So New York City came off this match against Cincinnati, 1-0 win. And I think the quote from Pascal Janssen, if I can find it, but it had something, it was something in the let me see if I can find it. I wanted to really read it directly. I know I wrote it down somewhere. But anyway, it was like, it basically was like confirming, it was confirmation that they were moving in the right direction after the win against Cincinnati. And then 6 days later, they played one of their worst games of the season and lost to Montreal. So here, for Montreal, it was their first win of the year. It was their 10th game, first win of the year. Laurent Courtois got sacked 5 games in. And then Marco Donadel comes in, and he's winless in his first 6. So or 5, because this is the one coming up, the 10. And it was also the first time they've ever had a lead. It was the first time they ever led a game this season. It was, again, the 10th game, and they beat New York City. So what do you think today?
You've got to beat Montreal. Montreal are a bad team. They've only won 2 games. The NYCFC won, and then they beat Houston, who are a bad team themselves, or certainly were when Montreal played them. Montreal struggle to score, and they concede too many goals. They don't score a goal a game, and they've conceded nearly 2 goals a game. So they're a bad team. You have to beat them. They've lost 12 out of 19. They've lost 70% of their games. You have to beat them. That's for certain. They've just lost their best player, who signed for Anderlecht. Saliba's gone as well. They're missing a number of players. I know NYCFC are missing a few, but Montreal, they don't have a budget. They're a very small squad. And within that small squad, they have limited ability as well. So you have to be, if you are NYCFC and you have any glimpses or thoughts of playing in the playoffs, specifically in the top 4 to get in those home guaranteed home playoff tie, You have to beat the teams like Montreal. The next 6 games for NYCFC, granted, 5 of them are away from home. They're playing bad teams. They're playing bad teams in the next 6 games. They've got to be looking to win 3 or 4 of their next 6 games, and it's got to start here for me against Montreal.
Right, it's a difficult stretch. This is one we talked about right at the beginning of the season, even prior to the season. This particular segment of the schedule, 5 away from home in their next 6 with a lot of travel. I mean, you've got Dallas, Orlando.
It's the travel.
It's
the travel.
A lot of it's the travel, not necessarily the competition, although Orlando is one of the better teams in the conference.
It's the competition. Look, I've just written it down. Montreal are in 15th place, Toronto in 14th, Charlotte in 9th, Orlando, yes, are half decent in 5th, but then you play SKC, who are 12th in their conference, and FC Dallas, who are 10th. So you're playing some bad teams. But you're right. It's the fact that 5 out of 6 of them are away, and there's a lot of travelling as well. But still, if you want to be a successful team, you have to be able to travel and go away from home and win. And so far, that hasn't happened too much for NYCFC in the last couple of years.
One final thing, Matty. I don't know if you recognize these guys.
I do. Yeah.
So, that's Gideon Zalalem on the left. That's me in the middle. And that's Chris Gloucester on the right, Montclair's finest. And I was visiting my daughter in Albuquerque, and I had arranged with Dennis Sanchez, the head coach of New Mexico United, to go to training. And I did an interview with Dennis for Sirius XMFC. And the night before, they played Juarez in just a friendly. And both of these boys played, and they looked good, and they're making major contributions. They're number 1, top of the table in the West Conference, New Mexico United. These guys are starters. They were really. I was happy because they were happy to see me. I did features with both of them, for the podcast and for our broadcasts here on the network. But it really was wonderful to see them. They're nice guys, and Dennis loves them, and so I'm happy because your path is what it is, and they've found a place where they're happy right now.
Absolutely. They didn't have much of a chance at NYCFC. They didn't get to play. Mainly that could have been down to the fact they didn't perform well in training, didn't perform well on match days. Zalalem has been well documented, suffered like serious injuries. He was going to be, or should have been, one of the best. Arsene Wenger raved about him when he was at Arsenal, but then he got a very, very serious injury, and that's hampered his career, and that's what happens. But yes, it would be great if they found some fluidity and a great place to be in New Mexico.
Yep. All right, Matty. Well, we're going to get ourselves prepared for this match. It's at Stade Saputo, where CF Montreal is playing host to New York City FC. It begins at 7:15. The commentary kickoff is at 7:40 Eastern. So thanks for being with us again. For Matty, I'm Glenn, and enjoy the game, everybody.